In 2020, Blackstone Group purchased Ancestry.com for $4.7 billion to prevent the world from finding out that Africans are the only true Homo sapiens and that all other groups outside of Africa are primates. Before diving deeper into this subject, allow me to give you a little background about Blackstone Inc. Blackstone Inc. is an American investment management company based in New York City. Blackstone has been one of the largest investors in leveraged buyouts in the last 3 decades. Although Blackstone Group is based out of New York, it is an international company with offices in the United Kingdom, Australia, Ireland, Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, and Luxembourg. As of June 2023, the company's total assets were approximately $1 trillion US, making it the largest investment firm globally. On December 4, 2020, the Blackstone Company Group purchased Ancestry.com for $4.7 billion. Ancestry.com is the largest provider of consumer DNA testing in the world with a network of over 25 million users. And Ancestry DNA testing is now available in 128 countries around the globe. The reason why these ruling elites pay so much money to acquire Ancestry.com because they will do whatever it takes to control information about DNA ancestry. They will do whatever it takes to prevent the world from learning through DNA analysis that the human history we've been taught by the white society is a complete lie. They don't want the world ever finding out that we Africans are the only true homogeneous species and that all other groups outside of Africa are primates. This is why Neanderthal genes are present in all groups from outside of Africa, including Europe, Asia, and Australia. Africans on the continent do not have Neanderthal DNA. Some level of Neanderthal DNA are found in some of we Africans throughout the diaspora only because of slavery, when Caucasian men raped and enslaved African women and impregnated them, thus polluting our homogeneous genes pool with their Neanderthal DNA. There's a biological response that sometimes happens whenever an African woman becomes impregnated by a Caucasian that proves that we are of different species. Her body often naturally develops antibodies that attempts to abort the Caucasian's babies. This is why nowadays, whenever a black woman becomes impregnated by a Caucasian, her doctor has to give her 2 Rogam injections to prevent her body from naturally rejecting the offspring. This isn't common knowledge, but it's absolutely true. The first injection is given at approximately 28 weeks, and one is given 72 hours before delivery. Had it not been for this biological response within the black woman, there would have been significantly more mixed babies born during slavery due to the white enslavers' routine raping of black enslaved women. If we're of the same human family, why then does the African woman body automatically tries to reject her offspring when impregnated by a Caucasian? All biologists will tell you that this biological response within the African woman when impregnated by a Caucasian male is evidence that we are of 2 separate species. In a book entitled Species with Amnesia or Forgotten History, author Robert Zephyr, who is a Caucasian, writes that the fact that the African woman body responds this way when impregnated by a Caucasian is proof that we are of different species. Dr. Robert Zephyr, an anthropologist and author, writes that Caucasians and other groups outside of Africa evolved as total separate species from the African Homo sapiens. He further explains that the reason why the African mother carrying a Caucasian child tries to reject her own offspring is because of the Caucasian's Rh factor. The Rh stands for rhesus, and rhesus is short for rhesus monkey. The rhesus monkey factor is a blood group that's exclusively to Caucasian. It's an agglutinogen that was first found in the bloodstream of the rhesus monkey. One of the biggest kept secret in the white world of medical science is that over 90% of Caucasians carries the Ricci's monkey gene factor. When the Rh positive Caucasian impregnates a black woman, anti-Rh agglutins automatically develops in her bloodstream of the black woman to try to abort the baby. It's an automatic response by her body to protect itself from the Rh factor. Scientists says that had it not been for this biological response within the African woman, that the number of mixed babies born during slavery would have been significantly greater. Caucasians are not the same species as we African Homo sapiens. They're Neanderthals. Although Caucasians share more physical characteristics with the white Neanderthals of ancient Europe than they presently do with we melanated Africans, they've totally separated themselves from those Neanderthals of Europe and instead claim themselves as being descendants of we African Homo sapiens. However, it's an absolute lie. In spite of their profound racism towards we Africans, they've separated themselves from the Neanderthal ancestors and have falsely attached themselves onto we Africans because doing so is necessary in order to falsely give themselves a Homo sapien identity, because we Africans are the only true Homo sapiens. The true scientific term for Caucasians is actually Homo sapiens sapiens. Wikipedia describes this as them as being modern humans that evolved from lower primates. The true reason why people perform laboratory experiments on white inbred rats is to see how those experiments would potentially go on the Caucasian population. Those rats have been inbred to mimic their subspecies genetic makeup. If they want to know how something will impact we true Homo sapiens, they will then use the normal non-inbred colored rat. The term Homo sapiens the Homo sapiens sapiens was deliberately designated to Caucasians to confuse the world, to fool us to believe that they are Homo sapiens, but they are not. The truth is that the repeated sapiens refers to a subspecies primate. They are not of us. We Africans are the true Homo sapiens. The Caucasians' Darwinian evolutionary theory chart does not apply to we Africans. Unlike Caucasians that evolved from lower primates, Africans have always been Homo sapiens. Caucasians are not African Homo sapiens. This is backed by even more science. 2 studies published in the journal Nature that looked at the DNA fossil hidden in the modern human genome found that Africans are the true Homo sapiens. Our chocolate melanated skin color and our hair type are the results of Homo sapien DNA. Caucasian pink whitish skin color and the animalistic hair type have been scientifically proven as being the result of Neanderthal DNAs. These studies also reveal that Caucasians' fertility, predisposition to certain diseases, and other characteristics are an all direct result of their genetic traits due to their Neanderthal DNA. The implications of these findings are enormous. This means that the Darwinian evolutionary theory chart, origin of species, does not apply to Africans. And it means that Caucasians are literally Neanderthals masquerading themselves as being Homo sapiens. This might be a bit of a disappointment to those of you that favor the premise that all life originated in Africa and spread throughout the world. However, that story has totally fallen apart. Moreover, it was never supported by any scientific fact. They made up a theory and repeated it so often that people started believing it was a fact. Isn't it ironic that for centuries, many whites have regarded black people as being the subhuman and themselves as being the true humans? However, science reveals the exact opposite. We Africans have been scientifically proven as being the true and only Homo sapiens. The name Homo sapiens means wise humans. Homo is Latin word for human or man, and sapiens derived from the Latin word meaning astute or wise. The name wise human is appropriately for Africans. because Africans introduced science, writing, math, and philosophy to the world. Africans invented the wheel, paper, the calendar, the concept of 24 hours in a day. Africans are the first to build in stone and to smelt metal. The world's oldest standing kingdom is in Africa. The world's oldest university, library, manuscript, encyclopedia, human prosthetic, mathematical tools, medical journals are all located in Africa. And long before the Europeans invaded Africa, it was Africans that civilized Europe. Africans introduced shaving, the use of toothpaste, perfume, fragrance oil, deodorants, and even introduced the daily bath to Europeans. And quiet as is kept, we Africans are also responsible for most inventions that have revolutionized the world. In spite of cultural traumas wrought by the injustices of white racism and slavery, most inventions that have revolutionized the world were either invented by Black people or were directly inspired by early inventions by Black people. Without Black people, there would exist no internet, no cell phones. We wouldn't have cameras and microphones on our cell phones. We wouldn't have the accurate weather forecasting system. We wouldn't have the cataract laser removal scope. There would be no emails, no GPS, no hearing aids, no touch-tone phones, no caller ID, no home surveillance security systems, no home game cartridge, no motorized vehicle, no steam engines, no traffic light, no working light bulbs, no elevators, therefore no skyscrapers, no air conditioning. We wouldn't have the modern PC. There'd be no 3D movies. We wouldn't have central heating, refrigerators, helicopters, washing machine, lawnmower, dryers, refrigerated trucks, blood banks, fiber optics, nanotechnology. We wouldn't have doorknobs, the female sanitary pad, bathroom tissue holders, pencil sharpeners, tricycles, etc., etc. The world would be much significantly lesser had it not been for we Africans. We have enriched every aspect of the life of every person on this planet through our many inventions. We are different from them and also greater. Some people may present the question that if we're different species, then how come we can interbreed with them? Perhaps we do so in the same way that a lion and a tiger can produce, but they are different species. However, as methods to analyze ancient DNA continues to improve, we're able to get more answers to our ancient history. And the more answers we find, it becomes confirmed that the evolutionary history we've been taught is a lie. We Africans are not the same as them. One love and peace. It's time to elevate your mind and start learning the truth.